If you're a fan of Soviet vehicles, you might expect that the best T-34 is going to be somewhere in the Russian tech tree. But it's not. It's in the German one, and it's also behind a paywall. Sorry.
Just do it!
Hey there guys, so it occurred to me that I've been neglecting ground a bit recently, and I decided it's about time to remedy that with a review of a premium vehicle which is sure to piss as many people off as possible, the German T-34. And the reason I say this is because this is a vehicle which is an example of Russian bias, premium bias, tech tree copy and pasting, and foreign tech trees getting a better version of another country's vehicle, all rolled into one. But before we get into all that, just to quickly go over some basic info about this vehicle. This is a Rank 3, battle rating 4.3 medium tank in the German tech tree, currently available for purchase for 2,460 Golden Eagles. And essentially, what this thing is a T-34 1942 with a bunch of extra armor plates tacked onto it, a few cosmetic changes, and a .3 bump in BR. Now, while 15 or 20 millimeters of extra armor may not sound like a lot, you have to consider that 1, it's sloped, and 2, at this battle rating, that's going to make a lot of difference in terms of what you're fighting. So like this spot, which isn't covered, you can see the 76 on a normal T-34 is going to punch clean through it. But next to it, on the spot with the extra armor, it's going to struggle. Same thing with the sides here. This uncovered spot, normally this would be able to punch clean through it, but this part which is covered by the track, not going to happen. Another thing which might be a little less obvious to consider is that because it's in the German tech tree, it's not going to be facing those German 75s nearly as much, which, as you can see, can punch clean through the front of this thing even in the spots that are well armored. So the fact that you don't have to deal with those guns all the time means that this protection is actually going to get you a lot farther just on that basis too. In terms of firepower, this thing gets access to quite a few different shell types, but I find that in about 95% of the time, the BR-350B shell is going to be your best pick. It has 96 millimeters of pen and quite a respectable amount of HE filler. I also like to bring a few high explosive shells just in case I run into any open tops. You can also bring APCR if you really want to, but I just don't find it particularly useful. Like most of the time, it's easier to just try and shoot out the cannon barrel or the tracks than it is to find a flat spot on the armor to punch through. Aside from all that, it comes with all the same advantages you'd expect of a T-34. Good mobility, decent reload, though it has a pretty crappy reverse speed and gun depression, but if you're experienced and you know what you're doing, those aren't problems that you can't easily overcome. The advantages of this vehicle don't just end with its own performance though, because Germany has quite a few great vehicles at this BR that you can use alongside this thing to fill out a very strong lineup. In terms of tank destroyers, you have the Sturr Emil, the Jagdpanzer IV, the Hetzer, and if you want to spend the GE, also the Brummbär. The Sturr Emil is particularly great to run with this thing in open maps, since fighting early Shermans and T-34s with a 128 is just absolutely hilarious. In terms of your options for fighters, you have the 109G2, the premium TA-154, and if you happen to have it, the old, now removed, premium P-47. In terms of CAS options, you have the Dornier 335A1, the premium Heinkel 219, as well as the Dornier 217E2, which is probably my favorite because it comes with 4,000 kilogram bombs, which is more than enough to kill quite a few enemy ground units if you know what you're doing. Overall, I would definitely rate this as being a great pickup, because not only is it a good vehicle on its own, but it allows you to fully exploit all of those 4.3 vehicles in the German tech tree which don't have a medium or heavy tank to run with them on their own. Additionally, this is a vehicle which ends up receiving pages of history objectives relatively frequently, so you can use it to grind out those events, and also, because it's a rank 3, despite its low BR, you can use the German 4.3 lineup to grind out other ground events if you don't want to deal with, APFSDS and attack helicopters and whatnot. Because of all this, I rate overall as a 10 out of 10 pickup. Definitely get this if you're thinking about either grinding out Germany or you just want a good lineup. That's going to be all for this one. If you enjoyed this content, please consider liking and subscribing for more. Leave any feedback in the comments section below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.